This is the Federal Election Commission Campaign Guide. I'm going to just read the terms but not the page numbers. This is the Federal Election Commission Campaign Guide, Candidate Guide Index. This is the very back of the book, the index. Patrick is the best. Hashtag body cameras in Congress. Alright, let's go quickly because this is kind of pointless anyway. Accounting for primary and general elections. Accounting method is acceptable. Accounting services. See legal and accounting services. Administrative fine program. Administrative termination. Advertising. Expenses. Public political defined. Rates. Advisory opinions. Affiliated committees. Agent. Aggregation. Election cycle versus per election. Of independent expenditures. Of receipts. For recording and reporting. Aircraft. See campaign travel. Any other lawful purpose. Assistant treasurer. Authorization notices. Authorized committees and affiliates. And affiliation. Contributions by. Defined. Filing by. Other than principal campaign committee. Registration of. Termination of. Transfers between. B. Ballot. Taking action to qualify for. Ballot access. Ballot initiatives. Endorsements by candidates of. Fundraising by federal candidate/office holder for. Use of campaign funds to donate to. Bank. Defined. Bank loans. Assuring repayment. Brokerage loans. Collateral for. Endorsed or guaranteed by candidate. Guarantees or endorsements. Line of credit obtained by candidate. Made to candidate. Obtained by candidate for campaign purposes. Reporting. Best efforts. Bipartisan Campaign Reform Act of 2002. BCRA. Bounced checks. Reporting. Brokerage loans. See bank loans. Bundling. See lobbyist bundling. C. Campaign. Conversion to multi-candidate committee. Defined. Winding down. Campaign assets. Sale of. Transfer of. Campaign committee. Campaign depository. Campaign funds. Any other lawful purposes. Non-campaign use of. Permissible use of. Personal use of. See personal use of campaign funds to transfer to party committee. Use for ballot initiative. Use for candidate's salary. Use for certain air travel. See campaign travel by aircraft. For charitable donations. Use for charitable donations. Winding down costs. Campaign materials. See also exempt party activities. Campaign staff salaries. Campaign travel by aircraft. Campaign traveler. Commercial travel. Comparable aircraft. Government convenience. News media traveling with candidate. Non-commercial air travel. On behalf of House campaign and House leadership PACs. On behalf of other political committees. On behalf of presidential and vice presidential campaign. On behalf of presidential and vice presidential leadership PACs. On behalf of Senate candidates. On behalf of Senate leadership PACs. Security personnel traveling with candidates. Use of candidate/family-owned aircraft. Use of non-commercial transportation, other than aircraft. Campaign transfer, see campaign travel by aircraft. Campaign traveler, see campaign traveler by aircraft. Campaigning, defined, 1. Candidacy, announcement of. Candidate, appearances. Assets held jointly. Coattail support. Compensation to, see candidate salary contributions from. Contributions intended to be loans. Debates, defined, employed by prohibited sources. Family of, salary payments to. Fringe benefits of. Independent, loans from. Non-federal committee of. Personal financial reports. Personal funds of. Registration. Repayment of personal loan from. Reporting contribution, loans, and advances from. Salary of. Unearned income of. Unopposed. Candidate committee. Candidate salary. Cash on hand. Charitable donations. Checks. Contributions returned due to insufficient funds. Clear and conspicuous. Clearly identified candidate. Coattail support from other candidates. Commercial vendor. Committee. See political committee. Principal campaign committee. Communications Act. Computer use and voluntary activity. See voluntary activity. Conduit or intermediary. See earmarked contributions. Contributions. Acceptance of. Aggregation of. Anonymous. Attribution of joint. Bundle. See lobbyist bundling. Cash. Date made. Date of receipt. Defined. Depositing. Designated and undesignated. Earmarked. See earmarked contributions. Excessive. Extension of credit. Forwarding. From affiliated committee. From candidate's family. From candidate's personal funds. From individuals. From limited liability companies. From minors. From multi-candidate committees. From federal campaign. From partnerships. From political committees. From party committees. From unregistered organizations. In the name of another. In kind. See in-kind contributions. Indexing for inflation. Joint. See joint fundraising. Last minute. Limits. limits chart. Loans, see loans, of goods, of money, of services, of stock. Primary versus general, prohibited. Questionable legality, reattribution of, recounts, redesignation of, refund of, returns versus refunds. Remedying excessive, reporting to independent expenditure only political committees, to non-federal candidates, to other federal candidates, to retire debts, transmitting, types of, contribution information, contributor list, sale of or use of, contributors, determining nationality of, fictitious, identifying, election cycle to debate total. Coordinated contributions, defined, versus independent expenditures. Coordinated party expenditures, defined, disclaimer requirements, versus in-kind contributions. Coordination, defined, determining coordination, conduct prong, safe harbors, content prong, payment prong, with candidate. Corporate/labor communication, coordination with candidate. Endorsements, outside the restricted class, to restricted class, types. Corporate/labor facilities, incidental use of, meeting rooms, use of corporate/labor name or trademark, volunteer work at. Corporations, contributions from, prohibited. Defined, electioneering communications by, event sponsored by SSF, event with restricted class, fundraisers for candidate, independent expenditures by, PAC, see separate segregated funds, restricted class, use of facilities, covered period, credit, extensions of, credit cards, date of receipt for contributions charged on, itemized transactions, record keeping for distributions on, reporting transactions on, travel expenses on, custodian of records. D. Date contribution is made. Date contribution is received. Debates. Debt settlement. Commission review of. Debt settlement plan. Eligibility for. Debts, see also loans. Assignment to other committees. Disputed. Forgiveness of. Itemized debts owed. Net debts outstanding, other than loans. Owed by the committee, owed to the committee, reporting, retiring, settlement of, staff salary, unknown amount, unpayable, designated contributions, direct mail, disbursements, defined, designating elections for non-campaign goods or services, in-kind contributions, itemizing, purpose of, records, refunds, reporting, disclaimer notices, authorization notices, clear and conspicuous defined, exempted on small items, IRS requirements, multi-page document, on coordinated party expenditures, on exempt party activity, on independent expenditures, on internet solicitations, on public communications, net authorized by committee, package of materials, placement of, pre-exemption of state law, printed communications, special rules for, radio ads, special rules for, stand by your ad provision, television ads, special rules for, treasurer's best efforts, wording of. Disgorging contributions, known contributor, prohibited in kind, unknown contributor, district or local party committee, see also party committees, donation, draft committee. E. Earmarked contributions, conduits, contribution limits, contributions earmarked through SSF, defined, forwarding, reporting, transmittal to campaign, versus lobbyist bundling, election, defined, party or caucus convention as, recount, runoff, special, election cycle reporting, election year, electioneering communications, coordination of, defined, disclaimer notice on, public distribution of, targeted to relevant electorate, electronic filing, generally, joint fundraising, mandatory, new treasurer, obtaining a password, requirements, Senate campaigns or committees that support only Senate candidates, threshold, verification requirements, voluntary, employer or contributor, endorsement or guarantee of loan, endorsements by corporate/labor or communication, from other candidates, safe harbor to coordination, conduit prong, Ethics in Government Act, exempt party activities, campaign materials, disclaimer requirements, reporting, slate cards and sample ballots, sources of funds, expenditures, see also disbursements, operating expenditures by the candidate, coordinated party expenditure limits, defined, for non-campaign goods and services, generally, independent expenditures versus other disbursements, exploratory committee, see testing the waters, Express advocacy, defined. Explicit words of advocacy of election or defeat. Functional equivalent of. Only reasonable interpretation test. F. FEC identification number. FEC website. Forms available on. Federal Communications Commission. Federal election activity. Party communications as. Federal Election Campaign Act. Federal funds. Federal government contractors. Federal office holder. Federally permissible funds. Filing. See also reporting. Administrative fine program. Amendments. By candidate. Electronically. Last minute contributions. Last minute independent expenditures. Methods. Other authorized committees. Paper filers. Principal campaign committees. When. Where. Foreign corporations. Domestic subsidiaries of. Foreign nationals. Defined. Determining nationality of contributor. Contributions from. Prohibited. Green card. Exemption. Voluntary activity by. Forms. Computerized. Form 1. Statement of organization. Form 2. Statement of candidacy. Form 3. Form 3L. Form 3Z. Form 8. Schedule A. Schedule B. Schedule C. Schedule C1. Schedule D. Web forms. Functional equivalent of express advocacy. See express advocacy. Fundraising by federal candidates and office holders. Ballot initiatives. Candidates running for both federal and non-federal office. Federal election activity. Non-federal elections. Participation at non-federal fundraising event. Prohibition. Publicity for non-federal fundraising event. Supporting independent expenditure only political committees. Supporting tax-exempt organizations. Fundraising notice. See disclaimer notices. G. Get out the vote drives. See voter registration drives. Government contractor. Government employees. Political activities of. H. Hatch Act. Home event exemption. Honest Leadership and Open Government Act of 2007. It's still funny. It's still funny. House and Senate rules. I. Identification number. Identifying contributors. In-kind contributions. Advances as. Appreciated goods. Date of receipt. Defined. Designated for more than one election. Limits. Notifying recipient. Prohibited. Reporting. Versus coordinated party expenditures. Value. Income tax. Reporting. Independent and non-party candidates. Primary dates for. Independent expenditures only. Political committees. Defined. Reporting. Independent expenditures. 48-hour reports of. Allocation among candidates. By corporations. By party committees. Date made. Defined. Disclaimer notices on. Generally. Last minute reporting of. Reporting. Interest. Reporting. Internal Revenue Service. Internet use of. Generally. Paid web communications. Use of employer computer and internet access. Volunteer activity. Investment income. Investment interest and dividends. Reporting. Investments. Reporting additional depository. IRS. Fundraising notices. Tax laws. J. Joint contributions. Defined. Reporting. Joint fundraising. Allocating expenses. Allocating gross proceeds. Costs. Defined. Depositing contributions. Electronic filing. Exemptions for party committees. Fundraising representative. Net proceed calculations. Notices. Paying expenses. Prohibited contributions. Record keeping for. Reporting. Screening contributions. Separate depository. Statements of organization. Transfer of receipts. Unregistered organizations. Use of commercial firm. Written agreement. L. Labor organizations. Communications by. See corporate/labor communications. Contributions from. Prohibited. Defined. Fundraisers for candidates. PAC. See separate segregated funds. Restricted class of. Use of facilities. See also corporate/labor facilities. Last minute contributions. See contributions last minute. Last minute expenditures. See expenditures last minute. Leadership PAC. Defined. Not affiliated with candidate sponsors campaign. Travel on non-commercial aircraft on behalf of. Legal and accounting services. Free. Reporting. Use of equipment versus individual volunteer services. Legal expenses. Limited liabilities companies. Contributions from. Corporation versus partnership. Defined. In-kind contributions from. Notifying recipient. Prohibited. Reporting contributions from. Single member LLC. Line of credit. See bank loans. Loans. See also bank loans as contribution. Bank loans. Collateral for. Endorsement or guarantee of. from candidate, from candidate's family, record keeping, repayment of personal loans from candidate, reporting continuously, reporting last minute, lobbyist bundling, co-hosted fundraisers, contributions credited to lobbyists, contributions forwarded by lobbyists, contributions from lobbyists, covered periods, crediting contributions, defined, Form 3L, lobbyist/registrant, lobbyist/registrant PAC, Lobbyist Disclosure Act, record keeping, refunded contributions, reporting by certain presidential committees, reporting threshold, returned contributions versus earmarked contributions, where to file, M, mailing lists, sale of, mass mailing, defined, matter under review, defined, meals, media contracts, membership organizations, see labor organizations, memo entry, defined, merit systems protection board, minors, contributions from, multi-candidate committees, contributions from, conversions of campaign committee, 2, defined, notice to contribution recipient, requirements, N, name of principal campaign committee, national banks, contributions from, prohibited, national party committee, contributions from, defined, transfer of campaign funds, 2, negative entry, defined, net debts outstanding, calculating of, defined, non-commercial aircraft, use of, campaign travel, see campaign travel by aircraft, non-connected committees, defined, non-election year, defined, non-federal candidates, coattail support from, fundraising by federal candidate/office holder for, non-federal committee of candidates, contributions to, transfers from, prohibited, non-federal event fundraising, see fundraising by federal candidates and office holders, non-federal funds, defined, fundraising by federal candidates, prohibited, nonpartisan tax-exempt organization, defined, non-profit organizations, donations to, fundraising by candidates as office holder for, principal purpose, O, occupation of contributor, office holder expenses, campaign funds used for, ongoing committee, defined, operating expenses, defined, generally, in-kind contributions reported as, offsets to, reporting, overdrafts, P, partnerships, contributions from, in-kind contributions from, prohibited, reporting contributions from, party caucus or convention, as election, party committees, affiliation of, contribution limits, coordinated expenditures by, defined, district defined, exempt activities by, expenditure limiters, federal election activity by, independent expenditures by, itemized contributions from, joint fundraising, local, defined, national, defined, state, defined, support from, transfer of campaign funds to, political coordinated communication, defined, person, defined, personal funds of candidates, see candidate personal funds of, personal use of campaign funds, automatic, per se, case-by-case determination, defined, irrespective test, promotion of candidate's book, third-party payment rule, petty cash, phone banks, see telephone bank, political action committee, contributions from, defined, political committees, defined, itemized contributions from, political campaign committees, administrative termination of, conversion to multi-candidate committee, defined by, media rates, name, redesignation of, registration, termination of, prohibited sources, contributions in the name of another, corporations, defined, federal government contractor, foreign nationals, labor organizations, national banks, public communications, defined, disclaimer notices on, public political advertising, defined, disclaimer notices on, public records office, purpose of disbursement, see disbursements, purpose of, Q, questionable contributions, disgorged contributions discovered late, documentation, record keeping of, R, reattributions, see reattributions and reattributions, redesignations and reattributions, receipts, categorizing, date of receipt, defined, itemizing, other contributions, records, record keeping, acceptable accounting method, advances for travel and subsistence, bank loan made to candidate, best efforts, cash and check disbursements, contributor information, credit card transactions, credit union checks or salary or share drafts, debts and loans, digital image or photocopy, for bundled contributions, for campaign travel, for contributions from political committees, for designated contributions, for disbursements, for mixed-use travel/vehicle, for receipts, for redesignations and reattributions, for testing the waters activity, possibly illegal contributions, retention of records, treasurer's best efforts, use of prior records, recounts, Redesignations and reattributions by campaign committee, by contributor. Defined. Obtaining. Presumptive. Receipt of. Record keeping for. Reporting. When to request. Refunds. Defined. Of excessive portion. Received. Unknown contributor. Resignation. Registration. Candidate. Political campaign committee. Repayment of candidate loans. Reporting. Restrictions on per-election fundraising for. Reporting. Address for House candidates. Address for Senate candidates. Amendments. Appreciated goods as contributions. Bank loans. Bounce checks. Bundled contributions by candidate. Candidate personal funds loans. Contributions by text message. Contributions from candidate. Contributions to other candidates. Debts other than loans. Detailed summary page. Disbursements. Earmarked contributions. Election cycle. Election designation on disbursement. Election year. Electronically. Exempt party activity. First report. Forms. Free legal and accounting services. In-kind contributions. Independent expenditures. Investments. Itemized disbursements. Itemized receipts. Joint contributions. Joint fundraising transfers. Last-minute contributions. Limited liability company contributions. Loans. Mailing deadline. Negative entry. Paper filers. Partnership contributions. Post-election detailed summary page. Post-general. Pre-election. Quarterly. Receipts, redesignation and reattributions, refunds, dispersed non-travel staff advances, reimbursed non-travel staff advances, reimbursed travel staff advances, return contributions, salting reports, special elections, summary page, transfers, travel costs, ultimate payee, when to report, chart, where, who, reports, public inspection of, sale or use of information, salting. Restricted class, defined. Returned contributions, defined. Reporting. Runoff election, defined. Salaries. Sale of campaign assets. Sale or use restriction. Sale of goods, fundraising, items/events. Sample ballots. Separate segregated funds. Affiliation of. Contributions earmarked through. Contributions from. Defined. Services. Volunteered. Slate cards. Soft money. See non-federal funds. Solicit. Defined. Solicitation materials. Special election. Defined. Reporting. Spouses. Assets jointly held with. Contributions from. Staff advances. Application to congressional staff. As in-kind contribution. From candidate. Generally. Record keeping. Reporting non-travel. Reporting travel. Travel exemption. Stand by your ad provision. See disclaimer notices. State government. Filing with. State or local candidates. Contributions to. Soliciting for. Statements of candidacy. Charge or correction of information. Example of line-by-line instructions. Statement of organization. Change or correction of information. Example of line-by-line instructions. Stock. See in-kind contributions. Appreciated goods. T. Tax laws. IRS notices. Taxpayer ID number. Telephone bank defined. Terminating the committee. Administrative termination. Defined. Eligibility. Termination report. Testing the waters. Committee. And defined. Limits and prohibitions. Record keeping versus campaigning. Trade associations. See also labor organizations defined. Transfers between authorized committees. Between committees for the same office. Between committees for candidates seeking more than one office. Defined. From non-federal account. Prohibited of campaign assets. Of joint fundraising receipts. Reporting to candidates non-federal committee. To party committee. Versus contributions, travel expenses. See also operating expenditures and campaign travel by aircraft. Advanced by campaign staff. Advances for allocating between campaign and non-campaign. Exemption from contribution limits. Meals and lodging exemption. Mixed travel. Personal. Reimbursed. Reporting. See also operating expenditures. Reporting to and from Washington, D.C. Treasurers. Assistant treasurer. Change in. Personal liability of. Record-keeping duties. Reporting responsibility. Required. Responsibility of. Signature. Vacancy in office. U. Unauthorized committees. Contributions to. Defined. Unauthorized single candidate committee. Defined. United States Treasury. Usual and normal charge. Defined. Definition. Determining value of in-kind contributions. V. Vendor. Commercial. Defined. Discounts by. Volunteer activity. Corporate/labor facilities by foreign national. Exemption from meals and lodging. Food drink initiative for home event. Food drink invitation for home event. internet activity, legal and accounting services, personal property, personal services, uncompensated staff services, use of home, church, or community room in, use of computer services in, voter registration drives. W. Web forms.